We left off in the previous book where the suitors and Penelope just found out that Odysseus' son is now out looking for answers from old friends that his father had been in touch with. So book 6, we open up where the gods are all together. Athena goes up to her father. She's like, you have to do something. Go talk to them. In the image, Poseidon is there, but in the book, he's actually not there. So they all come to the agreement that yes, he should be let go of. He should go back home. Zeus then sends Hermes, his messenger, to go tell Calypso that, you know what, you need to let go of Odysseus. Zeus has said it. She's not so for it at first. She does give him a little bit of glip, like, why do I have to send him away? Why do I have to follow this? But she does, at the end of the day, she does realize Zeus is above all, so we have to do what he says. She then goes tell Odysseus, but she doesn't mention any of this. She just goes tells him, hey, you know what, you're gonna be released, which is why he's so hesitant, and he's just like, why would you just do this out of nowhere? Like, what's in it for you? But then she does guarantee him, you know what, I'm not going to do anything to you. I won't, I won't inflict any pain on you, but I'm not going to tell you that you're not going to endure any pain during your journey. Throughout the journey, we then see that Poseidon does make it harder for him to try to get home. He still has this huge grudge on him. So we do see the acts of where he's a little bit too hard on Odysseus, and you see that Odysseus is struggling, which is when Athena jumps in on board and she helps him. She's like, you know what, I'm here for you, so don't worry, we got this together. Thankfully now to Athena, he's back on Earth. He could go, and he's thankful for it. He's grateful for it. And we see this when the narrator says, he crawled on land, crouched beside the reeds, and bent to kiss life-giving Earth, which is what he's always been trying to do. Just go back home. We open up book 6 with Princess Nausicaa. She's a 13-year-old. I believe she's 13. She's really young. But Athena wants him to meet her because she's ready to be married, which is the opening scene. She's ready to get married. Athena then wants Princess Nausicaa to see him. And Princess Nausicaa, at the end of the day, does really help him. In this opening scene, it's really weird. Odysseus doesn't even know how to approach her. He's naked. She's a young girl, and he's just worried of how to approach her. But he does know how to approach her really good. He does it in a loving way so that she doesn't feel attacked. Strategically, what the princess tells him to do is to get the mom first. So get my mom to sympathize you first. My father will come in second. And so Odysseus starts telling the mother, hey, you know what? I'm trying to go home. I'm trying to go back to my wife. I'm trying to go to the lady who has my kid. The king then offers hospitality. He offers him gifts. He offers him a feast. And this is where, at the feast, it gets a little interesting. At the feast, the king's son goes up to Odysseus. He's like, let's play these Olympic Games. Let's do this. Odysseus is still a little bit offended. He's like, why do I have to do this? The nanny jumps in, taunts a little bit, and then Odysseus responds in this way. He says, but your mind is crippled. You have stirred my heart to anger with these outrageous comments. I am not lacking experience of sport and games. When I was young, I trusted my strong arms. Despite my suffering, I will complete. So regardless of what he's enduring at that moment, he's still going to compete. He doesn't care. It's offending his ego, so he's going to act out on it. He then throws the ball a little bit too further, and it jumps back into the scene of the festival. So at the festival, we have all of these things going on. We then have the king who reassures everyone, like, hey, you know what, we might not be the best at games and sports, but we are good at feasting, dining, and having a fun time. They have the poet who comes in and talks about the love of Aphrodite for Ares. Aphrodite cheats on her mans for Ares, and during this occurrence, Poseidon is then the one to forgive them, which is a little bit ironic because he does still hold a grudge against us. Odysseus, so it's kind of weird that we see that. Then we have the Greek story, which is then played out, and we see that Odysseus is like crying, and it kind of stirs up a little bit of emotion because the king is kind of like, why is he crying? Does he know anyone? Which is the next step in the story. After every single tradition of hospitality, we see that in every single book, everyone at the end of the feast, they always ask him, who are you? What are you doing? And this is the king doing this. He wants to know who this is. We see that at first, like in the first 4 books, we don't have much of Odysseus. So towards these books, we do see that Odysseus, whenever he's feeling minorly threatened, he acts on the impulse of it. Sometimes he kind of just goes for it and he doesn't really think about, oh wow, like maybe this might have a consequence at the end, but he just goes for it. So I think that that's a huge problem, and you can kind of see it dramatized throughout the whole prompt of it.